Quant will control everything. Right guys, today we're going to be checking out an interview from Quant CEO Gilbert Verdian, where he's going to be talking about whether interoperability is actually possible and the futures of the financial system. So without further ado, let's get into the interview.
Gilbert Verdian from Quant Networks. You're the CEO, my man. Welcome to the Daily Exchange.
Thank you, Fred. Good to be here. Thanks for having us.
Tell us all about Quant Networks. What's it all about?
We're about re-architecting the internet. And so if you look at what's happened, there's no denying the internet is actually a foundational change in society. Like, we actually benefit from going digital. We can't operate without the internet today, and we're so dependent on it. But we've got an issue of trust, and that's what we're solving.
Okay. Now, you guys focus a lot on interoperability.
Yeah.
Is interoperability actually possible?
And that's the question, guys. Of course, Gilbert Verdian will say yes, but let's say why he says yes and why even 4 years ago, as that's when the interview was, why he believed in Quant so much.
Absolutely. And if you think about humans and society, we operate in networks. We have our social network, our family networks, work, trade networks, and the internet is another network that we use to communicate and collaborate. And the problem we've got is we've lost trust in the network. And networks flourish when they interconnect. If you remember the old days, in the .com days, you had AOL, Prodigy, you had all the walled gardens of isolated proprietary networks. When we connected them up, we had the internet of today. We have Facebook and Google and Amazon, and all those things happen. So we can't...
Yeah, I like the internet comparison mainly because that's how the internet became what it is today, right? Through interoperability. Before, when it was closed off, not many people were using it, but now there is no one that I know, at least, and probably you guys as well, that doesn't know what the internet is. And same will be with blockchain and everything in this finance space. And yeah, that's why the overledger is so important, guys, and Gilbert will get into that later on in the video.
We can't be solid. We can't be closed off from each other. We need that as a society, and we need that for our networks. And so that's what we've set out to solve, and we've done that. We've solved interoperability at scale. We didn't build blockchain. We didn't want to build another blockchain. We've built an operating system. And so what we've done is we're able to sit on top of existing blockchains and future blockchains and allow them to interconnect at scale to enable innovation to happen. And we've connected 10 blockchains with enterprise permissioned ones and public permissionless ones already.
Okay. And
yeah, that was 4 years ago, right? That's just crazy to think about. And yeah, a lot of people have tried the interoperability thing as a whole, but I think no one does it like Gilbert, man. He's just different.
Now, what are people using this interoperability with the Quant network for? What's happening?
Yeah, so if you can think about, if you're on a mobile phone network and you're on T-Mobile, right? And your colleagues are on, I don't know, AT&T. You can't talk to anyone who's on AT&T. You can only talk to your colleagues in T-Mobile. And by connecting these networks up, we're allowing people to communicate, trade, exchange value, exchange data, and it's all through interoperability. So our clients are using overledger, which is our operating system, to interconnect and have access to new markets, but also be able to trade with partners, suppliers, and really move assets around vast blockchain networks rather than keeping them siloed and isolated.
Okay.
Yeah, that's interoperability, guys, basically, right? Everyone needs it, and Gilbert's here to provide it. Like, also another thing, like, I know there's a lot of other projects that use interoperability to kind of boost their own sales, but Quant just genuinely does it the best, right? Because their team is amazing, and Gilbert himself, this was 4 years ago, and he has like 20 years of cybersecurity experience, and that's maybe not the same as interoperability, but obviously, like, it's gonna mean a lot in the long term, right? So, and not just him, the whole team is amazing.
Now, what's sort of the main chains that people are, I guess, switching between?
Yeah.
Right now?
We're really focused on the enterprise, and we're bridging the enterprise private secure world and permission networks with the public permissionless networks. And what we're seeing, enterprise is really driven by Corda, Hyperledger Fabric, an internal version of Ethereum, Ripple, and it just depends, their own homegrown blockchains. A lot of enterprises take a fork of a blockchain and make their own version, and they strip things out or they add things to it. So Quorum is a good example as well. So on the enterprise, we call those the Enterprise 5. And so they're the main majority of the market is what they're using. And then on the public permissionless networks, we've connected Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ripple, IOTA, EOS, and then we've got a few more, Stellar, and we're connecting them up. And it's open source, so we're allowing the community to connect networks to Overledger so they can all talk to each other.
Really interesting. Now,
Yeah, so like he said, they're not a blockchain, they're a blockchain connector, right? And that's what interoperability is, basically. And I like he mentioned Ripple, IOTA, Ethereum, the inner part as well, right? So a lot of very big coins are being worked with here, and like enterprises, another big reason for interoperability in these enterprises, right, is for testing out CBDCs, like he said in other interviews. That's something that he can do, or that big enterprises can do, and banks more specifically. This is more specific towards banks. They can do testing CBDCs without really any repercussions, and that's really tough right now as they're not ready, right? Yeah, that's another perk of the overledger.
in terms of your, I guess, operating system, tell us about that. Like, what's its goal? Why'd you build it?
So Overledger really solves the problem of connecting networks and connecting people up. And the problem was really, I've got a cyber background for 20 years working in government and banking, and I saw the issue that we're building things in isolation and we're building things that can't talk to each other.
Yeah, there's the cyber background, guys, going into fruition.
And in 2015, I ended up founding the ISO standard for blockchain, so TC 307, and that was really to enable mass adoption of the technology. And now we've built the operating system to bring on that mass adoption, because there's no one blockchain that's going to rule them all. There's no one monopoly that's going to be blockchain for everyone. Everyone needs choice, and you use the different types of blockchains for your user cases, your requirements, and what we're allowing people to do is combine all the different features of blockchain so you get the best of all of them, but also try and find the right blockchain for you. And so you don't know if it's a blockchain A, B, or C. You can use Overledger, try and find the right one, and go with that, and then have the option to move between blockchains as well.
Okay. Now, so we've...
Yeah, that's something that interoperability does again, right? A lot of these big enterprises, they're not that educated on the blockchains. Like, no matter how hard they try, they will not be as educated as someone like Gilbert, who spent their entire life in cybersecurity, in technology, right? And yeah, with the Overledger, they can just test out which blockchain works best for them.
Quant, you guys did an ICO, I assume, and then you've got a token right now, the Quant token.
Yep.
Tell us, how is that used with the operating system?
Yeah, so we're quite excited. It's quite innovative the way we've done it. It really solves the enterprise use case and developer community use case. And so what we've got with our token is a way where we're enforcing security. And so the Quant token is used to validate, verify, sign every transaction that goes through Overledger. From a security perspective, you need three things: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Without that, security fails. And so we enhance security with the way we've architected our operating system with the token. And we're also using that as a means of value to transfer between different networks. So can you imagine a stable coin, a digital asset of some sort that can travel between Ethereum networks, Bitcoin, Hyperledger, Quarter, and be able to be understood and transacted across different types of platforms? And we can do that with our technology. And so it's and we've got a secret that we're working on. It's something to do with transport. And so we're using our features and the technology in Overledger to be able to transport digital assets across multiple blockchains.
Okay. So
Yeah, so there's there you have it. Why we believe in Quant so much, right? So Gilbert, up until this point, was just talking about interoperability, his Overledger platform, and this is where Quant's token comes in, right? Quant is going to be used for every transaction as a security protocol, and yeah, as a security verification, I should say. And yeah, that's gonna be huge for its price, especially when the Overledger truly reaches the heights that I believe it can reach.
right now, what is the sort of the tokenomics of the Quant token?
Yeah, so it's really, again, back to signing the transactions and using that for validation.
That gets burnt then? Do the tokens get burnt?
But they're locked. So the way it works, like I said, we've covered enterprise and the community versions. And so the tokens are used for you to have access to the network. So you need licenses. And so when you have access, all those tokens are locked up. and then you pay transaction fees with the tokens as well. And so that's used for transactions. So it's kind of like Stellar, the way Stellar is operating, but then you're moving that digital asset with the token as well. So it's like a multi-utility token.
Right. And then when something
Yeah, that's multi-utility token, smart contracts, all of this stuff, guys, we have mentioned before and we're going to mention again. This is why we believe in Quant in short terms, right? Gilbert is amazing as a CEO, like everything that he's planned out, and this was 4 years ago, mind you guys, this was 4 years ago, and yeah, everything that he says here stands true.
staked, I guess, to use the system, and then I guess is it get unstaked, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's locked away. We've got a treasury. There's two treasuries that we've got. We've got an enterprise treasury, and then we've got a open source community treasury, and the treasury locks that away, putting it out of circulation, and it handles all the transactions and what enterprise and developers need for you to operate and run on this network.
Right, makes sense. And what are you sort of seeing? What are the sort of main kind of businesses that are using Quant right now?
We're heavily enterprise focused. I mean, on the I can go into.
Yeah, so obviously a project like this will be used by enterprises, right? Like, and Gilbert's gonna go into more detail, but especially now what they're doing. Maybe they weren't even doing back then, which probably they weren't, right? But now with how many big projects they're working with, the BIS obviously, like Project Rosalind is gonna go mad, and I don't even need to mention the other ones, right? Like, you know them if you've been keeping up with the channel.
A couple of examples, we've got some banks, some financial services, some government use cases, and they're using overledger to create universal applications that are cross-platform, because enterprises don't like to be locked into one blockchain. They don't know which one is the right one, and so they're using us to have access to all the blockchains and be cross-platform regardless. Okay. And so on the community side, we actually have over 230 registered organizations as organizations using overledger developing right now. And so it's quite an active and vibrant community.
Okay. Now
yeah, even back then, guys, I didn't even know that this was the number, right? 230 communities were using the overledger. That's just mad when you think about it back then. So you can imagine how big the number is right now. And back then, like, I think Quant was at like $12-13 or something like that. But overall, right, for that short time period, it has like 10x at least, and I think it will continue to go exponentially higher and higher and higher. Like, I don't really see an end goal for Quant, is what I'm trying to say.
I spoke with Jerry from IBM. He was, I guess, he's seen as one of the godfathers of blockchain as well. Mm-hmm. He talked a lot about with interoperability. Some of the challenges aren't really technology, but more business challenges. Tell us, what are the main challenges right now of getting more interoperability and more adoption there?
Yeah, so I can say us as a company, we're the standard for interoperability. So we actually shape what interoperability looks like.
I would agree.
Globally, at the ISO level, so at the very high end, interoperability at the ISO level is governance interoperability, business interoperability, and technical. And then on the more technical side, we're part of Quilt in Hyperledger Foundation, and we're doing the Quilt reboot. And so what we're allowing to do is to have a choice of interoperability by having a framework. So using our technology in the front, you have a single API, a single gateway to all the different blockchains, and then you're able to pick different modules and different use cases of interoperability that you need for that particular purpose. And so we're shaping that to give people choice. So there's no one form of interoperability. It's not a technical thing. An atomic swap isn't interoperability. That's one use case. What we've done is we've created universal interoperability.
Yeah, sounds simple enough, but no one really has done it to the level that Gilbert has done it, and that will be the video for now. If you want to check the rest of the video out, you can find it very easily. And yeah, I'll even leave the link in the description, why not? So you can check it out and get educated on Quant, because this is a channel that we really, or this is a project that we really believe in on this channel. So yeah, let me know all of your thoughts and more on what Gilbert says, and are you bearish or bullish on Quant? Leave it all down in the comments below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed. As always, I'll see you next time, and peace.